Good afternoon. The first item of business this afternoon is time for reflection. Our time for reflection leader today is Christine-Duncan, the Chief Executive Officer of Scottish Families Affected by Alcohol and Drugs.
Presiding Officer, members of the Scottish Parliament, thank you for the opportunity to address you this afternoon. Imagine you go home tonight and someone in your family, a son, daughter, partner or sister, tells you that they are addicted to drugs, and you then find that society either blames you for the addiction or fails to understand what it means for a family to be in recovery. This is the reality for many of the families in Scotland impacted by a loved one's substance misuse. Current estimates say that there are about 60,000 problematic drug users and some 200,000 problem drinkers in Scotland. Around each person with an addiction, there is a constellation of anywhere between 4 and 6 people directly impacted. Scottish Families Affected by Alcohol and Drugs is tasked with delivering the drug and alcohol strategies. We have a national helpline, and from callers to the helpline and the many families we engage with through a network of peer-led family support groups, we hear daily what the reality is for everyone affected. We hear from 78-year-old parents struggling to cope with a 55-year-old son's drug addiction. We hear from parents worried about their teenage son's use of new psychoactive substances or legal highs. And we hear about cousins worried that their relative has once more relapsed and is suicidal. Numerous national and international studies show that the harms experienced by families as a result of their relatives' drug misuse include psychological distress, mental and physical ill health, domestic abuse, and negative financial consequences. This also can lead to social isolation. Stigma, unfortunately, still surrounds anyone with an addiction, and for those close to someone with an addiction, there is a double stigma, so often being shunned just for loving a son or a father or a daughter who is misusing substances. One family member told me that it was easier dealing with her son's addiction than being ignored or pointed at in the street by neighbours and former friends. What do families need? They are in need of services in their own right. They need understanding and support to help them as they hold their families together. Again, on our helpline, when asked what they would like, the average family member simply says, "Help for my boy," or "I just want her to get her life back together." Families are very selfless people, and what would our communities be without them? I would like to leave you with the following thought. While children outgrow childhood, parents never outgrow parenthood. Thank you.
The next item of business is consideration of Business Motion 893.